Hello, Taurus. These are your cards for November 2022. My name is DanielleStimpson of Learn Reiki Philadelphia, and if you haven't already, I highly recommend that you check out the overview, which will give you all of the astrology for the month that is relevant here, and it will give you a lot of context for what you're about to see. Additionally, I recommend checking out your sun, moon, and rising signs to give you a more broad and specific at the same time view of the month ahead. So without any further ado, let's dive right in. All right, so to start us off is the card of the focus for the month. And we start off with a major arcana, the first of 3 for you. So 3 out of 5 cards are of the more spiritual and important in the deck. So there's definitely a lot of importance this month. The moon is a card that is not the most easy to transit through. At the same time, it can pay dividends if you do the work that's recommended around it. The moon is all about definitely being led not by a full bright light, but there's a shadowiness. There's definitely an idea of a path ahead of you. You want to follow through and go through this time, but as you can see, you need to go through those choppy waters before you get to the calm seas. And while this might be a choppier time, there's only one way to those calmer seas. The only way out is through. So making the most of this time can be really significant and something that can be transformative for you in the long run. And so the card that starts you off at the beginning of the month, how you're entering November, is the Four of Swords. And the Four of Swords is a card of kind of mental rest and even sometimes physical rest and rejuvenation time, some self-care time. It's also a time of meditation and introspection for sure. The classic look on this card would be a knight lying on what will be his tomb one day, but for now he's not out in battle. He's taking a rest, and battle looms for him to re-enter at some point in the soon future. It's this time in between two places where reflection would serve you well. So you've definitely been through a lot the last several months, and right now you have kind of like this holding pattern, especially in the first week or so of the month where things are a little bit calmer. It's best to use this time to reflect inward, and I give you that advice because the challenge is to do just that. The challenge is the Hermit card, which is a much bigger version of the Four of Swords. The Hermit is another major arcana. It's deeply spiritual. We have this individual here in the snowstorm in the dark, and he's being led by only his own flashlight, which only goes where he shines it. And this is very much the challenge of the month. So this really pertains to coming into yourself and deciding where you're going and how you're going to get there based on your internal reflection. The Hermit is outside of society, making its decisions based on the reflections that they're making on a very spiritual level, ideally. The traditional iconography is of the hermit out on the edges of society holding a lantern or a lit staff. And the parable is always, as I said, it's self-driven, it's self-motivated. This is a time where the hermit in the challenge position would be to see the parts of ourselves that are most in our own way. You've been through a lot. Take this time to kind of lick your wounds and enjoy like a little bit of solitude and peace, but don't squander this time with simple distractions. It's a time to decide what just feels too uncomfortable to carry any longer, and there's a good chance that you're going to need to undo some patterns that are in your way. The where do we go from here card is next. and that's the Seven of Coins. Seven of Coins is about taking stock, taking inventory, and seeing the effort that we have put out there, the work that we have put out there, and making some decisions as far as how are we going to continue forward. We know our fruit is not yet ripe. The things that we've been working on aren't quite at their fullness yet. At the same time, we need to make some decisions about how do we want to proceed in the next season. Being that this is coming from the challenge of the Hermit, and the challenge, a hermit in a challenge position means a lot more of make sure you're not just resting on your laurels and lying around, that you're actually using this time to reflect spiritually. This is definitely saying it also needs to have some relevance in the real world. This being the way forward would say, look at the fruits of your effort that are coming into fruition. They're not quite there. They will be there yet. Your guides are saying, hey, they will be there yet. But what would we wish is blooming now that isn't there? And how do we get there? What's in our way? And that's really this month in a nutshell. The whispers from your guides category of this card reading, your guides give you a love letter and a message of the best you can know for this month. And they give you justice in reverse, which isn't as bad as it sounds. Justice is about fairness and balance and things making sense. Everybody has what they need. Everybody takes what they're supposed to take. Justice in reverse is about seeing what those patterns are and recalibrating them. This is basically a summary of the whole reading up to this point. This is your guide saying, when you do this work, it's not so much about self-punishment that you have to be maybe a little bit more disciplined or undo some what have been very comfortable things up until this point. You now need to kind of reprogram them and undo them. What they're saying is basically doing this work now will bring fairness to yourself, where you don't feel like you're putting out so much effort and getting so little in return, or getting things in return that maybe aren't as fulfilling as they could be. So the work you do now will bring justice to yourself, will bring balance and wholeness and peace to yourself. So they're with you. They're there to help you balance the scales as well. I've brought out a couple of crystals. Indigo Gabbro helps us find those tendencies that we have that get in our own way. And Peridot is helpful for breaking old patterns and cycles that are in your way. So I wish you all the best for November of 2022. I am a Taurus moon, so I definitely will be in there with you in this. And I wish you all the best. Do go ahead and subscribe with your notifications on so that you don't miss out on December's cards. And I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now, Taurus.